All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday. Welcome back, my friends, to another beautiful day. Another beautiful day trading some charts, looking at green and red candlesticks all day. That's our job. Is the Battlefield beta back today? It is. Oh boy, it's a big day. That might be one of the only games I'll get up and play video games for. That's the one, Battlefield. Something about it. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Thursday. What a day yesterday. Good day. AMD, nice little trade. Our gap fill idea was about as spot on as it gets. So the idea to allow the market to pull back, to fill that gap, to be cautious of the overnight gap was correct once again. It's been a very consistent type of thing that we're seeing is when we have these large gap ups in the morning, the entire day is pretty much plagued. It sort of sucks, but it's good. It's healthy. What we did yesterday was good for the markets. It's what you wanted to see. It's what is good for upside continuation. It's good to fill in those low volume gap ups in the pre-market. So that's pretty much what we did as we expected. We gapped up, we pulled back to it, we held it, and that was pretty much the entire day. Now, of course, it would be nice if we could pull back to it quickly and then V-shape recover on the intraday. That's what would be fun and exciting and nice to trade, but what we're getting is instead we're just getting a basically zombie grind to the downside into the gap fill level and then a flat afternoon with maybe a little bit of a perk higher at close, right? It was the same thing 2 days in a row. Not 2 days in a row, but last Thursday and yesterday were exactly identical. It was a grind lower all day, sideways all through the afternoon, and then a little perk higher at 350, right? And so tough to trade that unless you're just shorting the grind lower on the overall market. Individual equities were good yesterday, though. There were some nice individual equity trades. We had that Tesla squeeze, which we had a swing trade, closed profits on that, closed the swing trade profits into the 350. That was good. We had the Apple swing trade, taking profits on that into the squeeze yesterday. What else did we have yesterday morning? We had, I think that was it. Apple and Tesla, yeah. Apple, Tesla. Today I have a few that I'm in as well. We opened up some UNH yesterday, which is looking really good in the pre-market. A little contrarian. We talked about that in the live stream. So overall, great day. I think ended up the day around 6,000 and hopefully closing the week, or not closing the week yet, but another good day today and then close the week tomorrow. Been seeing some good success in the group, so shout out to you guys. Seeing some nice days. Foolish, what's up, brother? Nice days lately. All right. With that said, creating key levels webinar. Don't forget this Sunday. It's free, and I mean that. It's free. All you have to do is sign up and register. There's a link down in the description below. So why not register? Why not show up? It's completely free. We're trying to see how many people we need for the Zoom capacity, which we're getting pretty damn close to the capacity already. Unless I want to spend a lot of money, which I don't know if I want to. So if you guys didn't know, Zoom is extremely expensive. I mean, absurdly expensive. To get over 1,000 people in a Zoom meeting, I think it's like $250 a month, right? You have to have a $250 a month plan to get 1,000 people in a Zoom call. So it is not cheap to host Zoom calls, just so you guys know, at large scale. At small scale, it's fine, but when you start getting to large scale, they really start to, I think this is how they make their money. They make their money off large scale. So we're trying to get a feel. We already have like 900 and something people, so make sure to get in there before it, and especially when it opens on Sunday, make sure to show up early or at least be waiting for it, because once that cap hits, if it gets to a point where I got to spend like for 2,000 people, which is like $500 a month, I don't think I'll be doing that, guys, to be honest. So there might be a cap to how many people get into that, just so you know. I'm not sure I'm ready to spend $500 a month on a Zoom call. So That's that. Maybe we long Zoom today. How's Zoom stock looking? Yeah, it is sort of ridiculous, right? All right, guys. With that said, let's get started. Press the like button, subscribe. Here we go. Let's get over to the charts. Bam. All right. All right, there we go. Get the chat over here. And here. Bring back Skype. Why Skype and not me? That's right. Why Skype and not me? All right. So today, PPI data. Let me go ahead and zoom in on my face a little bit. I need to get this. I need to get this system down a little bit quicker. But it's all right. We'll do it live. I don't mind a little live fixing. All right. So today, PPI. Let's be aware of that. Obviously, we'll be cautious on what that happens at 8:30. We already know that. Anything on the earnings calendar? Anything on the earnings calendar today? Let's see. Today is Thursday. Today. There's a woodpecker on the roof. No way. I just left. That's funny. Pecking my roof, man. Maybe that's why my roof's leaking. Damn woodpeckers. You ever seen those? Those birds are cool, by the way. Today, Advanced Auto Parts. How'd they do? Flat. Nothing. JD. How'd they do? Nothing. Yesterday, Cisco. How'd Cisco do? Nothing. All right. Bunch of nothing. Nothing I care about. Tonight is AMAT. So we could be a little bit cautious of AMAT tonight, but not sure I'm too worried about that. So really nothing on the earnings side. Only thing on the economic the economic calendar is the PPI. Let me make sure there's nothing else. PPI unemployment claims 8:30. That's really it. Oh, we do have Trump speaking today at 1 o'clock. So here we go. Hold on. We do have a Trump speech at 1 o'clock. So you guys can see here PPI unemployment claims at 8:30. Mortgage delinquencies. That'll be interesting to watch. That's always a fun number to see. And then right here, President Trump speaking at 1. He speaks on a broad range of subjects. Yeah, so, maybe something to be a little bit aware of today, guys. That actually is something to be aware of, definitely. 1 o'clock today, President Trump speaking. You guys know it moves the markets at times, so make sure you're aware of that if you're in any trades. Tomorrow, retail sales, consumer sentiment, inflation expectations. Okay? Life is a blur. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you for the donation, man. Thank you for the support. Shout out to you. All right. So let's get into some levels. NASDAQ futures yesterday. Well, actually, let's start with the ES. Yesterday on the ES, we looked for that gap fill to previous day highs. We looked for the gap fill back to previous all-time highs, and that is pretty much exactly what we got. We failed. We had a little bit of a gap and go morning, which ended up failing the 6,500 supply. We failed it. We moved lower. Once we broke back below the opening print and got into the gap, you guys can see right here. Once we get into that gap, it was pretty much gap fill the whole way, the whole day. All right, look here. Once you got under that opening low right there, it was gap fill, and that was pretty much where you ended the day. So pretty much just a gap fill day. Nothing out of the ordinary. Very, very common. We've seen it happen a handful of times. Pretty much every time we get a gap up, we're cautious of the gap fill, and it did it again. So normal. Really nothing out of the ordinary yesterday. Basically just a slow zombie grind lower to fill the gap, and then we held it up, right? And then we held, and that's it. Today, we just open in the same range. So what are we trading in today? We're trading within yesterday's range. What does that tell me? Today might be a little bit of a, take the foot off the gas type of day for me. If we stay below yesterday's highs and above yesterday's lows, guess what? This is probably going to be some more difficult price action. Similar to what you saw sort of midday yesterday. Wasn't really clean, wasn't very continuous, was pretty choppy. Every next candle could tell a different story, right? You get one candle in your direction, the next candle goes against you. Just not something you want to be too exposed to. So just please make sure you have marked out. I have the 64.93 to 6,500 zone, and then I have the 64.68 to 64.60 zone. This is my demand zone down here. This is my rejection supply zone, right? And then in between that is NTZ, right? It's just places that I probably don't want to trade too much. I could look for fails. I could look for bounces, right, if I want to scalp the lows and highs. But in between, be very careful of continuation. Likely not going to happen. Underneath 64.60, I do like the short into this 64.42. This is a nice little area of opportunity. Or point. Why did we call it a poo? What was the P for? Why can't I remember that? Why can't I remember that? Something of opportunity. Why can't I remember P? Anyways, once you guys answer that, someone remembers 64.60, 64.42. This is an area of opportunity right here because it just went straight up, which I don't mind looking for it straight down. Pocket of opportunity. There you go. Pocket of opportunity. That's what it was. Right there. That's your little pocket of opportunity to the downside. If we do get a fail under 64.60, but that's only if that happens, which I don't see that happening right now. So that has to prove it to you, right? For now, this is definitely a strong demand. I would not try to short into this area if we're holding that demand. For the upside, to be honest, guys, I think I want to hold over 6,500, 64.93, right? That's really where I want. I want to see holds right above this high right here from yesterday, right? It's going to be a little bit tricky because here's the problem, right? These are areas that have never been tested. 6,500, 64.93. This is no historical data here. This is just yesterday. Yesterday and yesterday. Nothing else ever in history of the stock market have we tested these levels, right? These are new, fresh levels. So a little bit tough to know what area needs to hold on a little break and retest, right? To know if we're going to get upside. I would go off of the psychological level of 6,500 for now, right? I think that's probably the right call. Just go off the psych 6,500 level. I'm sure there's going to be some reason to be watching psychologic 6,500 level. That's just a really clean spot. There's going to be orders there. And I would just be watching that for now. So if we just sort of get a push today, I would be looking for 6,500 to hold, which would be holding right above those previous rejection points from yesterday. It could get a little sloppy off a few points, right? A few points here and there. You might want to give it a little bit of buffer because it's just not perfect yet. It's not like we've seen, right? It's not like we've seen this happen over multiple days, right? And then you're at 6,500 that, is very clear. You had triple top rejections there, and then we're going to look for a break and hold above it, right? We don't have that right now. This is clean, but we don't have this. All we have is a little peak high from yesterday. So it's just not as trustworthy, right, is what I would say. All right, so just understand that. Could get a little bit difficult to trust a certain spot because we're just not really, we haven't tested these levels, like I said. So just know that this low is very good. I would be watching for the pullback long in this low again. Under that, I do love this long. This is my favorite long, by the way. My favorite long is a pullback to 64.42 and a pullback to that CPI high. That would be my favorite long, just because it would also be a pullback to a very key SPY level and NASDAQ level, which I'll go over in a second. But it doesn't look like we're getting that right now. Looks pretty strong. We'll see what PPI does. Okay. SPY. So pretty much the same thing on the SPY yesterday. We had a previous day high, which was here around 642.85. What did we do? We filled the gap right down into that level. We held it and we moved higher. So yesterday, again, just a gap fill level back down to previous day highs, and we hold above it. So today, we're above yesterday's lows, we're below yesterday's highs, and we are within the previous day action. Guys, very important, okay? Understand your thesis, understand what you're doing or what's happening before the market opens. We are trading within yesterday's range. There is no reason to open today and get excited for something crazy to happen. If it shoots up or down and it proves to you that it's going to do it, great. React to it, trade it, and look for that opportunity. Don't come into today, if we're inside yesterday's range, thinking that today is going to be an incredible day, right? Have proper expectations, and that typically will help you come into the trading day with good expectations and correct expectations. The correct expectation right now is that it's not going to be an exciting day because we're trading within yesterday's range. Now, if we see that change on the intraday, you react to it, which a lot of people don't understand online, right? You know, a lot of people, they come back to me, Desi, you said today's not going to be exciting, and you said it's going to be within today's range, right? And then when when it breaks and holds above it, right, that means I can't trade it. I mean, we've made this this analogy before. It's like you got looked at by Medusa, right? No, you're not frozen, stuck solid, and you can't adjust to what the market's doing. If you want to be a good trader, you need to be able to react in real time to what's happening on the market. You need to be fluid and be able to react to new information. You can't be stared. You can't be stuck in stone. Okay? That's not how you trade. You can create a morning thesis, but that thesis can change. And if you can't adjust to it, that is likely why you are failing. So, as of this morning, I don't think it's going to be a good day. However, if I see us squeeze above yesterday's highs and hold above it, then yes, I am long, right? So then it's the same thing, right? If I say, oh, look, I like downside under this previous day low, well, if it goes under it, I'm going to short it, right? And then I'll get people online that say, Desi, why, you were so bullish today. How market went down? How did you short it? You were so bullish this morning. Well, guys, right? React to what's happening. I think we all know this, but I think some people just fail to understand that. So, yeah, you got to react. Our game plan is our game plan. Game plans can change. Theses can change based off of real-time information. You got to be able to react. So, 645.26, this little high here to around that 646 psych level. I just put 646 because that's just the psych level here, right? I don't have much information up here. I don't have previous data here. I don't have previous rejections here. All I'm running off of right now is the psychological level of 646, which I'm also running off on ES of 6,500. So there's really not much up here. It could just be a squeeze through, right? This does not have to reject the market, all right? This high and this high is not like a major weekly chart rejection point. It's not like there's major sellers here. It's just a little bit of a failure point from yesterday. So I wouldn't be so concerned about us getting through that if the markets are strong again, right? So make sure you understand that. It's not like this is a brick wall up here. It's just a previous day rejection to be aware of. To the downside, right, previous day lows right here at 642.85. Below that, you still above the all-time high on the S&P 500 ETF, my friends. You are still above the all-time high on the S&P 500 ETF. This is where you previously had an all-time high, right here, 641.57. You are above that. Above previous all-time highs. There is no such thing as bearish action. It's like, how could you be bearish if we're above previous all-time highs? It doesn't make sense. So there's really just pullback long theories here, right? That's really the only opportunity, in my opinion, right now. So pullback long, right? If you get under the previous all-time high, then maybe things get a little bit weaker. But until then, you're looking for pullback longs. You can see here, my favorite pullback long is still this 640 spot, which is that CPI high. I think it could be proper to fill in some of that straight up action still at 640. So I'll be watching that as well, but doesn't really look like you're going to get that today. All right. NASDAQ futures. So NASDAQ futures found demand yesterday within the 23.9 to 23.885 spot. That's a new level that I put on my charts because that's really where the NASDAQ futures found this demand low. I still think it could be proper for the NASDAQ futures to get fully back to the previous all-time highs, which is right here between 23.845 to 23.800. Sort of come back down to this previous high and find a nice long off of this. Doesn't look like you're getting that right now, so, not really going to be in the game plan to look for it until you, right? The only way to look for a retest of previous all-time highs is a fail under yesterday's lows. If you fail under yesterday's lows, which is 23.885, then you'll have a little bit of a downside move to 845, and that could be a nice long opportunity right there. But as of now, you're holding over previous day lows, 23.9 to 23.885, And the upside spot that I'll be watching today is pretty clear on the NASDAQ futures, actually. It's anywhere between this high and these lows. This is clear today for me on the NASDAQ. You can see these highs here turned into rejections all afternoon yesterday. All right, take a look at this. See this right here? 23,970, failure, 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 failure. And it could be a failure right now in the pre-market. All right, same spot. So 23,970 is definitely a level I want to see us get above. Now, the other spot I don't want to be long into today, or I want to be cautious of being long into today, is these lows right here. Now, why is that? Because when I go to the short-term time frames, look what happened when we failed these lows yesterday. Right here. When we failed this area, right? See this area that we have marked out? Look what happened. You tried to hold it. You tried to recover off of it, all right? You failed. You did not. And you failed quickly through that zone. And look at these rejections right here at 970 all afternoon. So I do not want to be long right back into this zone, which you can see is exactly where we're trading into right now. Right there. So that is an area I want to see very strong. I want to see a very strong reclaim above before being long today. Right? You need a reclaim above that zone. Right here. Right there. You need to see this. Right there. That's what you need to see. If you don't see that, this is not a long. If you see this, that is very possible, right? That is very likely. So be careful of that, or we squeeze above it. If we squeeze above it, we go to new highs. Pretty simply. Break under yesterday's lows, you go to previous all-time high. Okay? Very clean, very clear. QQQ. Same thing. QQQ. 581.40 to 581. That's your zone above. Be careful of these rejections. I need a reclaim back above this level for a long today. Need a reclaim back above this level. If we do not, we could fail yesterday's rejection points like we did all afternoon. We could fail it again. If we fail it again, we're going back down to yesterday's lows at 579. Now, I think there is an area of short opportunity here under yesterday's lows. Why is that? Because the previous all-time high on the QQQ is 577. That is still a level that I think you could need a proper retest towards, right, on the market. If I go to the longer term time frames, it would still be proper to me to see a pullback and retest of this zone. Why? Why do I say that? You guys should be able to know this by now if you come to these live streams. Look at how this went straight up, right? Typically, you will get a rejection point, right? You will get a breakout of that rejection point, and then you will get a retest of that previous rejection point, and then turn it into support for more upside, right? That is a break and retest. What have we not done? We have not retested this breakout point. We have not retested this breakout point. You have left behind this straight up move. So I think there is still a possibility out there, a looming possibility of downside back to previous all-time highs before we go higher. So I would be just aware of that. Now, that does not mean Desi said Desi's bearish today, right? He's so bearish. That's not what that means, okay? That means if you fail yesterday's lows, you can possibly look for a small, short-term downside move for 2 points on the QQQ back to the retest. If you really desire that, that's up to you. Or you just don't trade it and you wait for it to come back and then you long here, right? It's just a 2-point downside move that you could look for if you fail under yesterday's lows. So be aware of that. That's important. All right, that's that. IWM on a straight ripper. I mean, a huge day for the IWM yesterday. So inverse to the market, straight up all day. Incredible. This is a big-ass spot for the IWM, by the way. So let me go ahead and zoom out here. This is getting interesting. IWM 230.70. Let me show you this level on the daily right here. 230.70 is this very clear high right here. Over that, right? Over that, you don't have anything until 234.50. Let me show you where that comes from. 234.50 comes from these highs right here from back in 2021. So if you hold above these highs right here at 230.70, you are going to go to 234.50 in my opinion. That's if you hold over 230.70. And right now you can see we're sort of messing with it. And possibly it's going to get a little bit tricky there. But that's the level. Can it hold above it today? Or do we have to get a little bit of a pullback first? So watching that 230.70 on IWM today. All right, I'm going to take a second. And I'm going to ask you to press the like button. 2,600 people here, 800 likes. That's abysmal. That's abysmal. I need you to take a second and I need you to press the like button. Press the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'd appreciate that support. That's all I ask for. Providing free analysis every morning. That's, might I say, very accurate. And all I need you to do is press the like button. That's it. Please do so. All right. And also, to the 2,700 people here, sign up for the free webinar. I don't know why you wouldn't sign up for it. It's free. All right, let's continue. SMH. 4-hour chart on the SMH. 297, 298, right here. These previous highs. Rejections, rejections. Look for that pullback to 297, 298. 297, 298. That would be your pullback long to look for. You can see these highs from Monday. If you can get a pullback and a hold into that zone, that would be an area to watch. That would be an area to watch. 297, 298. Okay? That's really it. If we hold above that, that's a hold above previous all-time highs, which would be great. Right here. That's your spot to watch. As long as you're above that, you're going higher on the semis. If you fail back under 297, you'll get your pullback to the daily 20, which could also be a great opportunity. Right here. Right there. Okay. All right. That's that. Bitcoin having a little bit of a failure this morning after a nice squeeze. This zone, it looks like 125 to 123 is looking pretty damn heavy on Bitcoin. So just be aware of that. Some Bitcoin names are failing this morning. Just be aware here, right? 123, 125, right here, right here. Be careful of that zone, okay? 123, 125 on Bitcoin looks heavy. I like this pullback to 118 again, honestly, at the daily 20. That could be nice. No 295. Let me see. 295. Let me see if I had it. Did I take something away at 295? Yeah, maybe 295. Nah. I think if you fail 297, you'd want to back off a little bit, Jason. Right? I wouldn't want a long 295 back into 297. So for me, I just wanted to see over. I would, if we fail back under this Monday high here, I would back off SMH a little bit and wait it out. I think you need this to stay for strong momentum. If you want this to stay very strong, you got to stay structured over this Monday high. Okay. All right, we got 30 seconds till data. Amazon's crossing oh no way. Oh shit. Yeah, Amazon's a good setup today. That's a good looking setup. I think ADR's in this already. Shout out ADR. I think she's in Amazon. Yeah, she is. Looking good. Looking real good. Yeah, I like that trade. Okay. What do we got on data? PPI. Did we just fail? Yeah, we sure did. Look at that failure again. Okay. We might be getting our NASDAQ pullback that we were just talking about. Oh, yeah, we did. Todd, appreciate that. Thank you, brother. All right. So we got our pullback that we broke yesterday's lows. We got into the 23,845. Interesting. That's what we were looking for. This might go, if we break 64.60, we might have our short to 64.42 today. That's very possible. Let's see how this demand holds. This is going to be a very important zone here on the ES. I'm interested to see if this wicks higher. It could. It very well could. Let's see what happens. It's got to hold 64.60. It's starting to hold that zone. A little bit. A little bit. Okay, you're in your pocket of opportunity on the Qs. Under yesterday's lows, you're going 577. Yep. You might go 23.8 here if you break this 845. You're holding 64.60 to 64.68. Okay, yeah, really hot PPI read there, for sure. SMH coming back down. Amazon got smacked right at 226.50. This is my top short watch today. I currently have a little bit of action here on CoreWeave. Shout out Chris Jones. That looks like it might pay a little bit today. That's a big watch for me there. NASDAQ futures. Okay, right at 23,845. ES right in our zone of 64.60, 64. Yeah, look at this. So that's your zone. This is gonna be the zone today. Does this recover? Be sort of surprised if we recover off a hot PPI read like that, but hey, the market is very strong. So actually, I don't know if I can't say I would be surprised actually. SPY right at our zone, 642.85. It looks like it's to 642.50. Let me go ahead and pop that on there. What's that low there? Yeah, 642.50. Okay. Still pretty weak. Okay, look at that. Oh, come on, man. Do that in the intraday for me, would you? That's perfect. Oh. Do that on the intraday for me. Damn it. That is a perfect retest rejection of PDL. Okay. Yeah, this is going to 577. That was beautiful. Oh, that was beautiful. Look at that. Retest rejection, PDL, right there. Bam, on the dot. Oh, my God. Would have loved that on the intraday. See that little bam, bam, bam? Perfect. So now you are failing under yesterday's lows. That is no bueno for short-term momentum. I think you're coming back down to this 577 now, which is exactly what we were wanting to see. So that idea is gone, unfortunately. That idea is gone, unfortunately. But let's see what happens now at 577, 576. Now we have to adjust a little bit here, our game plan, because if we break under 576, that is potentially more downside to 572 here, guys. All right. 576, 577, you fail that, you have more downside. NASDAQ, if you fail under 23.8, I would say you have more downside here. Under 23.8 right here, you're probably going to start to trade within this CPI action, which could get a little bit frothy to the downside. Could get a little spicy to the downside there. There's really not much holding. Okay, and if we get under 64.60 here, you're going to 64.42. This was our pocket of opportunity we just talked about. So yeah, there's a little bit of concern that I would say if you watch for 64.60 fails, 64.60 to 64.68 fails. If we fail in here, we're going to 64.42. That was a beautiful break and retest rejection of previous day lows. That is exactly what you wanted there. Oh my God. Okay, 577. There you go. There's your target. That was quite nice. We should do some live trading on the futures in the pre-market today, huh? That's what we should have done. Anyways, 577, 576. All right. SPY, previous all-time highs just got hit. Look what's happening at previous all-time highs. 641.57. That was our spot. That is a retest of the previous all-time highs right here. Right there. If you hold that, you can bounce. If you break that, you're coming down to 640. Right here. Look. 640. Pocket of opportunity. Under previous all-time high, down into 640. That's your next spot. Yeah, level to level right now. It's good. It's very clean. However, we now need to turn this to red, which I'll do that after the live stream. I won't waste your time on that. But I'm going to be changing previous day lows to a red zone now, because a bounce into previous day low is now a potentially rejection move. NASDAQ might break 23.8. We just broke 64.60. All right. We got a little bit of juice. Be open to both sides today. Juice is good. I'm down. I'm down for some downside. Definitely. All right. Let's move on. Tesla. Okay. This is interesting. If Tesla fails underneath 335 today, you have this little 333 low, which maybe is a little concerning, actually. Maybe we pop in a little bit of 333 there. 332.50. Let's just put that 333 there, but okay, hold on here. A little bit of adjusting now, live, real time, from this CPI move, or PPI move. 337. Yeah, if we reject 338 now, that's the juice is loose. That's right. Okay, let's see what happens at 335. 335, 335, 335. Does that hold? If that holds, we have to be careful of 338 failures. Under 335, you're going to go to 333. Under 333, you're going 328. Okay, right now you're holding 335. Okay. What's the ES holding? SPY. Okay, SPY's holding previous all-time high. QQQ is holding previous okay, you just got the SPY and the Qs to line up at previous all-time highs. That is your pullback to the previous all-time highs on SPY and Qs right there. That is an interesting spot. Now, you do need to be careful today of possibly being a late short into previous all-time highs now after this downside move. You're going to have to be careful of that. NVIDIA. If NVIDIA can break below 179, this could be a great downside trade, but boy, oh boy, does it not want to break these channels. Yesterday, it looked like it was potentially looking for it, but it did not. 179, 180 zone, definitely strong demand. If we bounce on this market today, this could be another huge long opportunity. If you fail under 179, you're looking for downside there. Into the daily 20. AMD. Okay, so this is actually sort of good. AMD pulling back to our retest level. This could be interesting. This is sort of the level I wanted to see AMD back to today, actually. So this could be nice that we're getting it right now. Right here, previous highs, previous high. This is a good pullback right now. 179, 180. Can this hold? If this can hold, this could be actually still very nice on AMD. We'll have to see if it holds, though. If you break back under 179, you're going to go lower on AMD. So you cannot fail back under this high and this area right here. You can't fail 179. So AMD and NVIDIA, it's the exact same levels. 179 on both of them. Have to hold. TSM breaking below the daily 20 and 240 right here. If that if that fails 240 today and the daily 20, that's a little bit treacherous looking to me. That could be a big breakdown here under 240. So look to see if TSM fails 240. There is not much to the left, right? So that could be interesting. The key thing that you need to watch today before you short any semiconductor, before you short any strongest sector on the market, right? You need to remember that. Before you look at PPI data and say, oh my God, I'm full port short today. Before you start doing that and getting all hyped up and, for lack of a better word, another H word that I'm not going to say on the live stream, you need to be paying attention to whether the SMH actually fails the 297 level. You cannot find yourself short AMD and NVIDIA if SMH is holding this Monday high. That is a recipe for absolute disaster. If you fail under 297 and you start to reject that, then you can look to play the short side on NVIDIA AMD. If not, you are shorting into the exact demand level that you wanted to see a pullback towards. Do not let short-term price action change your mind into a longer-term pullback that is actually a bullish pullback. You need to be able to decipher between the two. That's where a lot of people lose money in trading. 297 has to break before you start shorting semis today. Do not find yourself short if that's holding. All right, let's move forward. Apple, still very nice. 236 is going to be a very heavy supply. Let's see if we can pull back to 231 today. If you fail 231, I would want us back to 227. But 231 would be the spot that has to hold there. Amazon was looking pretty hot in the pre-market. It did get smacked up a little bit at that 226.50. That is the level to break for the gap fill. Look at Amazon. Look at the gap above. You have a gap to fill above 226.50. If you can get above it, I like Amazon. If you fail it, just be careful. That could be a failure point. So 226.50 on Amazon must break today. Something to watch there. Google. Google 200, 199 pullback. Still very interesting to me. Look at this 4-hour chart. You guys can see right here. This could be a very nice looking retest. Here, here, here. Let's see if that holds here at 199, 200. This is an interesting spot. If you fail back under 199, you're going lower. That's the zone to watch there. Microsoft sitting right at this key 521 spot. It's going to be big. I have an alert underneath to see if it fails. Apple, Meta. Meta actually pulling back to a good spot at the moment, but the thing I am a little bit cautious about Meta is it failed back under that earnings high, which is a little bit shaky to me, right? You can see earnings high, you tried to hold above it, you got some trapped buyers possibly, and now you're failing back under it. So for me, that's a little bit shaky, right? That's a little bit shaky. If you fail under 773, you're going to go down to 758 again. So these are some nice spots to watch on Meta. Yeah, SPY is holding previous all-time high and bouncing. Yep. 557 and bouncing. NASDAQ 23.8 and bouncing. ES back over 64.60, moving back into 64.68. So our SPY previous all-time high level is spot on. That's your spot. But the thing you need to watch for today is, does previous day lows turn into a rejection point? That is the key today. If you reclaim previous day lows, you are on a reclaim ripper, and you are going to recover this move. If you reclaim previous day lows. That is an if. Okay. Going to move on to Palantir. Oh, Palantir went to 182. Damn it. All right. Palantir, I sort of wanted to trade this today, but actually there's still opportunity. Palantir under 182 would be a nice short to 178 in my opinion. This thing has been failing to make new highs here for quite some time after a pretty big push. Under 182, I would like it to 178. Let's see if we get that. I have an alert there. Hood. Hood looks pretty good on the short side today, I'm not going to lie. Right here, look at this. Highs, highs, lows. Tried to hold above that. 110, 112. A little bit of trap buying above, failing back under, right? That's sort of interesting to me. The problem with shorting Hood here is you're at the daily 20, which is a little bit sketchy to me. That's a little bit sketchy to me. So 106.50 area, I would be a little bit careful there at 106.50 and that that daily 20. If you can fail back under these highs and fail the daily 20 today, I think you have room down to 102. This could be a nice short here. This is a really clean failure back under this structure. Look at that. right? Look how you rejected it, held it, turning it back into rejections. Trap buyers, right? So, a little bit interesting there, especially if you continue to see a little bit of cool off on the old butt coin. So let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I'm waiting to see if Amazon gets over that 226.50. All right. What else? CRWV. Downside looks great. I would be looking to target 100 here on CRWV. I like this failure back under these lows and back under this high right here. CRWV is also off its lockout period, which means you are probably getting every Timmy and Jimmy from that company selling every share they have. So that is probably going to put some pressure on this stock, and you can already see it is right now. So underneath 119.59, underneath this 123 low, you can see that failed yesterday very aggressively. Look at these failures, right? Underneath this 119.50 to 123, you failed the daily 20, and you are starting to look pretty slippery. So I would say the slippery action could definitely take you to these lows down here at 100. Maybe it's like 105 to 100 zone, like right around here, where these wicks start to show up. Somewhere within this 100 to 105 zone is where you could start to see some support step up. Right in there, right? So be careful of that. Under that, I mean, yeah, something to watch. Something to watch. So definitely like the shorts underneath 119, 120. Circle, if we can break 143.50 today. Yep, 143.50. If we could break 143.50, there is nothing here until 120. So this is definitely something I'm watching to the short side as well. Underneath 143.50, you have literally nothing below. Right here. Look at this. Look at this 4 hour right here. See this? Right there. That wick low, under that, you're going down. 143.50. I'm watching that today. How's UNH holding up in this tank job of the market? It's not too bad. Looks like it's still above yesterday's close, so that's good. Still going to be profitable on it at least. We'll see how this thing holds up. Took a little bit of a contrarian look yesterday on UNH, as we talked about in the live stream. I would like to see it hold above this little shoulder, this little left shoulder right here, and that daily 20 around 267, 269. So we'll see if it can today. I would like that. If not, I'll probably ditch this one. But interested in this hold right here. A little bit of juice last night, falling back a little bit today. All right. What else? Did I miss anything I wanted to go over? Let me see real quick. UNH, CoreWeave, Coinbase and Hood. We'll go over Coinbase in a second. Netflix, I took majority of profits yesterday into our target. I'm still holding one, which looks like it's going to go back to break even. We'll see if it holds 1200 today, but good profit at our T1, which was that 50 SMA. So good call there, taking some off. Broadcom failing back under 310. All about whether the SMH fails 297 today. SPY, let's see what it's doing. Okay, there you go. There you go. That is your question mark today, my friends. That is the question I will leave you with today. Does the SPY reclaim previous day lows? Does the ES reclaim 64.68 previous day lows? Do we get back above that level? That is your question of the day. Does the NASDAQ reclaim into... You're still well under previous day lows on the NASDAQ, which is a concern there, right? You can still see your previous day low is here at 23,885. So you need to understand that if the ES reclaims, you are still below it on the NASDAQ. On the QQQ, that's all the way back to 579. So that's going to be probably your key spot, 579 on the Qs right there. Okay, it looks like you're getting a nice bounce right off our SPY all-time highs. Look at this bounce. Really nice. Very nice. Off of that 577 previous all-time high in the Qs. Perfect. Levels are leveling. All you got to do is follow them. Press that like button. Let's get to 2,000 likes, man. We're almost there. 2,000. Can we do it? 1763 right now. Trust the levels. Press the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure to sign up for the free Sunday webinar. What am I doing? I guess I'm just feeling like myself again, man. Trading's been much better. July sucked. But it's been a great month so far in August. Press the like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the Discord. If you want to come on in, link down below. If not, sure, it's fine. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love.